All right.
All right. Hello, fierce ladies. Coach D coming at you with Trish Blackwell, which many of you know for many reasons. I met her actually through Jan Taylor, who many of you know. She's also connected to me. She's a Durkinite. She's a Todd Durkin fan. She's part of that tribe too. Durkinite, that's my word. So they've all heard me talk about Todd Durkin, of course, Jan and Trish Blackwell. And there's I mean, how much time do we have really to talk about the amazing things that this woman is capable of allowing you to see? There's not enough time in the day to go through the list, but the highlights for me, she's my go-to when I need a boost, when I need a boost of confidence. Maybe if I need a little reminder of how to stay on track with eating, even though I am a health coach, I still need some reminders too. So she's my girl. And the biggest thing that I've learned from Trish is confidence, which is funny because a lot of people assume that I'm automatically confident just because the way I carry myself. And I can be, but sometimes when you take a step back and you ask yourself, am I really, truly confident, is when you really need to dig deep and get some inspiration. And Trish has been that for me. And she has so many different ways that we can reach out to her, and I've used all of them. So Trish, share a little bit about what you're doing now and what your favorite thing is about what you're doing now.
Ooh, so I think so I have a podcast called the Confidence Podcast. So I'd point people to free.
Okay.
For a user, go to Stitcher Radio, Apple, obviously just through the podcast app, or my website. You can go to trishblackwell.com/podcasts. That's sort of like the heart and soul beat of what I do. And I love it because every week's a new episode. We're on episode number 270. I was just recording before
Crazy.
we started. And it's so interesting because, I always learn about myself as I'm prepping the show. It's typically, I like to share something I'm either struggling with or working through or I've just mastered. And no matter what, I'm like, all right. Like, it's like I'm just get to teach myself as it's like you literally legitimately preaching to myself. And so what is cool for that to me is I'm really obsessed about growth. And as somebody who has been achievement oriented her whole life, I love metrics. I love, I'm a go-getter. I'm an accomplisher. I'm a checklist person. Growth is not really measurable. It is, and it's not. Learning growth. And I think that,
right.
I love what you said, being someone, you are confident, but how do you really grow into the optimal confidence that activates the flow of life, that really makes your relationships beautiful, gives you courage, gives you impact. That to me is I'm like, wow, that's not just you're either confident or not. You're are you growing to who you're supposed to be? So I really focused on that. And for so many years I was stuck on, I was growing and being successful in so many areas, but I was secretly struggling internally with my own inner demons, my own, toxic food behaviors, or things that I could keep hidden because I could go do an extra hour of running, but that, just aren't sustainable. And so what I like to tell people is that I like transparency. I like vulnerability and transparency because the people that have inspired me and have helped me break free from the things that were holding me back are the ones that were that told the dirty. That were and whether it was they went through some kind of crazy, awful sexual abuse, or they were I once ate everything in my fridge, including the butter.
Right. And
I look at this beautiful woman and I'm like, oh, it was just an invitation to be real. And that there was I guess it gave me permission to stop worrying about so much what the world thought of me. And that I could just be me. And so I love this concept. And my tagline is be you, be free. And for me, that was so powerful because it's if I could just learn to be me, then I can be free to feel comfortable in my skin and alive and happy, but also free to go try something. I'm 35. I took my first dance class on Monday.
Oh my gosh. What kind of dance?
Hip hop.
Yes.
Awesome. No, okay. I am going to say, I think I'm a pretty good dancer, but let me tell you, I went into an adult advanced hip hop class. I've never been in a proper dance class. And I showed up at 8:30 on Monday night. That's typically bedtime for me. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm an idiot. And we showed up to a Beyonce song that they'd been choreographing for 8 weeks with 150 steps in. I literally but it was so fun. It was
Yeah.
so awesome. And I'm
Best.
like, I like got half of it. I mean, like if I go right behind the teacher, I kind of think I look good because I'm looking at the teacher. I'm not looking in the mirror. But it's like the courage to go do something like that is so fun, so easy to go, I'm too old to do this. Like, can't start dance classes now. And like, also, I'm a fitness professional. It's a little embarrassing to go and literally stumble over your own feet.
Right.
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 Like, it was like that be you, be free gives me permission to go, I want to do that kind of stuff when I'm 70. I want to say, yes, I'm going to learn this. And I'm okay going and sitting around 15-year-olds to learn it. Like,
right.
Even that thought, I have a little bit of pride thinking about that. Well, maybe, no, I want to let go of that. The being gives me the freedom to go, stop caring so much what people think.
Yes.
And I think that is limiting in life.
100%. And I think when you talked initially about growth, the reason why it's not measurable is because it only matters to you. Like, you're the only one that sees the growth.
Right.
Because you're measuring it against who you are becoming.
Right.
And there's no other way to measure it instead of other than you saying, am I there yet? Am I there yet? Am I there yet? Right. And it's recognizing that you're not repeating habits or behaviors that aren't serving. It's recognizing that you're when you're in the moment and you're able to make the decision that you do choose the more effective choice. But that isn't black and white. That's not metrics, like you said. But it completely ties into just allowing yourself to be you and embracing that wholeheartedly, which turns into the confidence to continue to do it.
The courage.
And the courage. And to say, here I am.
And the am I enough? Am I good enough? And for me, it was always because I'm coming from an athletic background.
Right.
Am I good enough? Am I fast enough to be special? Like, there was always am I good enough? Am I skinny enough? Am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? Am I this enough? Am I enough to be enough? Right? It was always for everybody else. And this concept of be you, be free is like, no, there are going to be people who don't like me. And that's okay.
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely.
Like, I need to stop putting my effort into trying to impress other people, and instead, like, Durkin says, live a life worth telling a story about.
100%.
So that was so that I don't even think answers your question, but you gave me the question of tell us about yourself. That's what I'm most enjoying about my business right now. My podcast. And then I take group coaching. I take people from my podcast, and we do a group coaching program called the College of Confidence. And that's where we take some of those concepts and we dive deeper. And I love that too. So I love it because it's like I sometimes then pinch myself. The whole concept of be you, be free, all of what gave me the courage to start my business, do a lot of the stuff that you and I talk about. And like, I get to be I have a 10-month-old and a 3-year-old. And I get to be a mom. I'm a full-time mom. Now, day. Like, today's a full work day for me, but I have 2 full work days a week. And the other work I do is in nap time. So right. It is this like, and I'm making more than I did. I mean, if you're going to go by metrics, since I like metrics, it's not about that, but I do make more now than I ever did before, working 6 hours a week, having a really, successful career. Yeah. And so, wait a second. So if that's possible, what else is possible? And it's not just in the realm of how much money you can make or what you can do, but literally, I love this concept of there's an abundance out there and you can do so far exceedingly more than you think you can.
100%.
And it blows my mind every day.
And the momentum, we talk about like, I'll wait till I'm confident to wear my bathing suit. I'll wait till I'm confident to make that phone call or go for the job interview or get on Facebook Live or whatever it is. But what I learned from you is that it's the momentum of doing these small little things, like honestly getting in your car and driving anywhere and trusting that other people are going to stay in their lane. That takes confidence and courage. And when you recognize that all day long we're doing these little things that 100% show confidence and courage, that helps you build the momentum to keep going on that confidence curve. And
capability.
Exactly. The capability. That's the perfect word. Yeah. So you've worked with a lot of, I know you work with men and women, but you've worked with a lot of women.
Yeah.
And my fierce tribe is only women. And recently I made a transition away from a studio into a newer studio, and I'm just training women. Yeah. And I had to let go of a lot of shoulds doing that. I had to let go of, I opened up to my tribe, and I joke, it was kind of like Sally Field and Steel Magnolias, like the crying scene. I I just let it all out. And of course, as you know, when you do that, the outpouring of support and the outpouring of, I get it, I'm there with you, has been extraordinary. And it's allowed me to get closer to my tribe.
Awesome.
So I was close because we're women. We have the secret language, a secret club that kind of pre-exists, but we're closer than ever. And I wanted to interview you because of your ability to, you totally get it. You've been there and in many situations further down the rabbit hole than other people. And you're able to not only get yourself here, but then inspire others to do the same. I knew that this was a great opportunity for the space that I'm personally in and I'm sharing with my ladies to say, the walls are down. The walls are down. Let's be fierce and real and let's talk about this stuff. And, you know, it's because you work with women. What, if you could, naming one thing's probably hard, but let's say 2 or 3 things that you hear universally across the board that are areas that women truly struggle with.
Time. I'm going to say time, and I'm going to say, let's start with these 2. And if we have time, we can do another one. So
great.
Time, moralization of food. So, and I say that, so all of these are about expectations. And so I think there's this, what I'm kind of jiving around with in my mind is this expectations that we place upon ourselves. And again, it goes with abundance and scarcity mindset. So I'm like, these topics that really seem to keep reoccurring in my life and my thoughts and in some of my coaching, and in my breakthroughs and in my clients' breakthroughs. But this rite of passage that we are worthy because we're so busy is toxic. And the thing is, and again, it goes back to what I was talking about. All we want to know is, are we worthy and are we lovable? Am I enough to be noticed? And
yes.
So for me, it's of course you. And I think sometimes we use time as that, oh, I'm so busy, or how was your day? Oh, how's everything? Oh, and I've got my awesome little mom squad, but I've got to be really careful about what do we say? Like, hey, I'm sorry, like I've missed our co-op preschool 5 weeks in a row because I've been busy, but I catch myself and go like, hey guys, next week, like this week was the fridge guy. The week before was my husband's birthday. 2 weeks before that, we were in France. I mean, all good things, but that I'm missing quality time. And so even if on good stuff, to remove that excuse of saying, I've been so busy. Instead I say, hey, we've been out of pocket. Because I've been so busy, I then don't have it becomes scarcity of time. I don't have enough time and everything is a rush. And so one of the things, one of my first challenges to someone who wants to work on this is changing your language. And then the other is noticing your wins. And I say noticing your wins is so that you notice where you do have time, so that you can reiterate and highlight to yourself, I do have an abundance of time. And I'll give you an example from this morning. This morning I had an early coaching client. It's also a daycare day, and my husband's going to work. So I was trusting my husband to take the kids to daycare for the first time, which also means that I had all this stuff going on. For you have some moms who are nursing moms out there and who are pumping. So the daycare just changed some of the bottle rules, so I couldn't bring frozen milk. I forgot all this frozen milk, but I had to defrost one, and then I needed to pump, and then I needed to pump, and then wake him up. It was just like this, like hyper complicated normal mom day, right? all by 6:30 this morning. And so I got up, and it was like 5:45 or something, and I'm making coffee, and I was like, I need to get this on my boob and start pumping. And I was like, no, what do you do, Trish? You stretch first thing in the morning. I stretch. I do like 3 sunset salutations. I like to do 2 minutes, like legitimately only 2 minutes of ab work. And while I do that, I typically go through, all right, what are 10 things that I'm grateful for this morning? And it's a 5-minute routine. And I was so proud. I'm calling this a win today. That's a huge day, because at whatever time when I should have been pumping, which is like at that point, I'm like, oh, that's an ounce of milk. Maybe I should do that. I went, no, you've got time. You've got, so what if you're a little bit short somewhere else? This is more important. And what it does by slowing down to do something that matters to you for 3 to 5 minutes, it told me, you're not that rushed today. Bro, you got time. There's more where that came from. It's like little patterns like that, repeating that. So that's one topic I think, and then it goes into, I think I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and just normal women in a one-on-one coaching on time management and scheduling and creating productive habits. And a lot of that, honestly, if we were to break down the real issue, it's priorities over preferences, but knowing what matters to you, knowing your priorities, and fundamentally saying, I have the time for what matters to me. And especially when I think a lot of us are beckoned to families and obligations and work and groceries. I mean, literally the list never ends. And so you really could fill all of your time. But I don't know, I learned I don't want to live that way. And it's free. Again, I get to be me and I get to be free. I can do that.
Right.
But in order to do that, I need to go, I should be doing this, but I'm going to do a little yoga stretch.
Right.
And
Right.
that's important, you know?
Right.
So that has been a huge shift. And then it also, what's cool is that underlines this lesson in the world and life that I'm trying to really wrap my head around it, of abundance. And that's in a business mindset. That's a personal mindset. And then the second issue, I was going to say, I think most women, there's a common struggle is this moralization of food. But what I say about that is, I mean, there's a lot of, I think, toxic conversations that we as women have around food and about what we should or should not have eaten. And if you should not have eaten it, it means that your decision was bad, or that food was bad and therefore you were bad. And
100%.
Your tribe may or may not know this, but I struggled with an eating disorder for like 10 years and then disordered eating for about another 5 years after that. And so I spent a decade and a half going, I'm a POS because I can't control that. I can't eat just one serving size of popcorn, right? That's bad. There's nothing nutrition in that. I should not be eating this, and therefore I'm going to want to eat it. And then I eat too much because I tell myself never again, you know? And so there's the horrible cycle of eating and emotional eating that all starts. But that for me was realizing that I had to stop categorizing food as good or bad. I mean, and the reality is that we're saturated and inundated with messages of this in the world. I mean, you look at any diet, and I still get that pressure. I have a lot of, again, my mom's squad up here. They're awesome, but, and I love, before offending somebody, these girls are crunchy, like tree hugger, like they will not buy anything from a store that is not Whole Foods.
Okay.
They're awesome. I love these women, but I feel less than sometimes around them because they're all vegan. They're all, I mean, so then their children snack, their 2-year-old snack on dry seaweed. And Ellie's walking around with goldfish. But I'm buying the goldfish from Whole Foods and going, I'm doing better, right? And then they talk about cheese, and I'm like, and they would never touch cheese. And I, for a while, convinced myself, because I'm a trainer and I know that, okay, that's a great way to cut calories. And then here's the thing, like, I love cheese. Why don't I just love cheese? Why does cheese have to be bad? Right?
Exactly.
So that's for me where I get from like Europe. Like you get messages from the fitness industry. Then I got my mom squad, my hyper healthy mom squad. But then I asked, are they really healthy? Some of those girls are doing it because they have one has Crohn's, one has another thing. Like, but some are doing it because it's trendy, and they're like, well, this cupcake's really good. It's all vegan. There's this. I'm like,
it's cupcake.
If I choose to be vegan by lifestyle, that's a different decision.
Right. Versus,
I know some of these girls aren't, and they just go, oh, this is supposed to be healthier and I'm going to be skinnier because of this. So it's the motivation behind what we're deciding is okay to eat or not. Now, if cheese, I'm also lactose intolerant, so I do have to be careful about a little bit of cheese and high quality cheese I'm okay with.
Okay.
So like learning that that just because I'm lactose intolerant doesn't mean cheese is bad. It means, Trish, like, have a small serving and then that don't have yogurt that day. You know, right? That doesn't just mean all dairy is bad for me. Now, some dairy is higher quality, and that's what I start looking for. But I mean, I spent 2 decades going, this food's off limits, this one's off limits, this is good for you, this is bad for me, because I actually helped clients get weight loss faster by saying, now there's time in season where I've told someone, pizza is out of your life right now. Like, don't worry, it can be our friend again.
Right.
But let's get that weight loss, find that balance again, and then I eat pizza once a week. Like, so I think there's times and places, but I think one of the detrimental things of being women and us talking about our food is we have a lot of rules. We have a lot of good, a lot of bad, and then we make character judgments and personalize our choices by that. And then we wonder why we feel aggravated at night when we're lonely or stressed, and we get emotional and we want to turn to food. We've set ourselves up for it. But then what infuriates me more is that if you go out to group to lunch with some girlfriends, or maybe even you're around your sister-in-laws or your mom or something, or a bunch of women after a holiday meal, like, I almost want to say 90% of the time, I can put money on it that a conversation as after a meal, someone's going to like, oh, I ate too much. Or, oh, and I'm like, I've started walking away. Like I just
have to.
You have to walk away because or if you want to be brave, shut the conversation down and say, you know what? You'll feel good in an hour. Want to go for a walk? Like,
right.
I've just learned to say, like, that conversation not only is harmful for me to hear, but I know it's really harmful for you. There's no point. You don't have to feel guilty. Like, it's this replacement of guilt.
Mm-hmm. Is that so?
That's where I say the moralization of food. There's this lying with it.
Yes.
And
yeah.
The minute we attach guilt, something is really hard to have in balance and do from a positive.
Right.
And so you can go back to say these are puritanical. You know, I'm a Christian. I am. My faith is super important to me. So it's actually pretty fascinating that the concept of guilt and that. But I'm like, it shouldn't go into food.
Right.
Taste buds for a reason, and he gave us food, and food is, and there's nothing wrong with having pleasure around it. But I never was able. It took me 15 years to get to that.
So I guess, and you know, I hear this. So in Fierce, and a lot of the challenges, actually in pretty much every challenge, they check in at night, and we do 5 things: nutrition, water, workout, sleep, and then the daily focus or daily challenge. Nutrition is one, and we usually rank it on a scale of 1 to 10. And I actually have been considering getting, or at least coming about it from a different angle. Because if I get a 10, I'm good. If I get a 1, I'm bad. Or I was bad today because my number is not, and the 10, to get a 10, I don't know. I rarely have 10s. Like, that's ridiculous. That's, you know, and is that even a goal in the first place? But a lot of the times I hear I was good all day and then I blew it at night.
Yeah.
And good, unfortunately, a lot of the time means I didn't eat much.
Right.
That is good because I'm not overeating. Or, you know, I just had a small salad for, you know, I had my smoothie for breakfast and I had a small salad for lunch and I didn't eat anything else the rest of the day. It was so good. And then at night I blew it. I'm like, of course you blew it because you're starving. So when it comes to what would you recommend? So again, I guess this comes back to like the language change of talking about busy, but what would you recommend? Just getting rid of the bad and good words for women. And then when it comes to them in that moment, like feeling like they're powerless against food, what is one initial step, like a baby step that we could practice daily that could help us remove the good or bad, the moralization, and perhaps a baby step that could help us just throwing in the towel and saying, forget it, who cares anyway?
I would say for me, and start with enjoying like finding balance with food portions is, I think, asking yourself at the end of the day, did I enjoy what I ate today? Did it serve me? Did it give me the fuel that I needed? Right? Did it serve me well? And like that's like, but like, you know, having just come, I did when I was in France last month, I did some research on food, and I'm rewriting one of my first books. And I asked one of my friends, you know, do you ever feel guilty around food choices? And like, what happens if you eat, you know, because there was wine and cheese and dessert at every single meal. And all these people are extremely balanced and healthy and normal, right? And I go like, Stephanie, do you ever feel guilty? And she looked at me like I had 5 heads and was like, wait, guilt? And guilt? Around, and she's Catholic, like she's like super faithful practicing Catholic, so she knows guilt.
Right. This is not a foreign concept, just not with food.
She like guilt around food? No, and this is gonna sound so ignorant, but it's actually told my husband. Like I was like stopped her. I'm like, wait, I had to go write down your quote. Like that was brilliant, right? So it's gonna sound ignorant. I'm gonna prepare you, but I think it's inspirational, profound, and actually pretty scientific.
Okay.
He said, no, why would I ever feel guilty if I eat too much sugar? My mind just tells my body where the food should go. I'm not stressed about it. I don't think it's going to put weight on me because I choose that it won't. And I'm like, what?
In English, please.
English, right. And this actually conversation was in French. So then I was like, so she speaks English.
Like, does it translate?
I was translating, then I said it back to her in English. And she goes, yeah, because she speaks English as well. But okay, so here's what I think is profound. She actually has mastered food for pleasure. She said, food is pleasure. God gave us pleasure. I love sharing food with people and meals, and it's a gift. It's part of the joy of living, and it gives my body energy. Why would I ever feel guilty about that? I was like, well, what if you have too much of what you overindulge? She goes, well, I don't typically, because I know I can just have it the next meal if I wanted it. It's not off limits, right?
It's not off limits. That's huge.
Yeah. And then she said, and if I do, then if I do overdo it, then I won't have it the next meal, and I'll just have it the next one. And so what I realized, why I say it's profound and actually scientific, is what she's actually, what somewhere in her mind that she convinces that she tells her body where it's going and that it's not going to go to her hips. It literally doesn't, because she doesn't incorporate guilt and stress into eating. And you and I and your fierce ladies know stress increases cortisol and puts on fat where we don't want it. So it's like, at first, like, Brayden, my husband was like, that's really stupid. I'm like, no, listen to how wise she actually is. Like, she has taught herself to be free from guilt and free from stress, which then actually, even if she overeats, doesn't make the food metabolize the same way.
Right.
It's like mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I guess the point for me is like, all right, how do we incorporate that? Okay. Well, I think turn every guilt, and I was just working with somebody yesterday on this, turn every guilt into gratitude. I think that's the first starting place. Did I turn my guilt into gratitude today?
Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah. So when my client said two nights ago, she knows that when she eats right before she goes to bed, she gets heartburn at night. And so she was like, she woke up yesterday morning feeling really guilty. And she's like, Trish, like, how am I ever going to be able to, she's a health coach. How can I actually ever help people if I can't get my own stuff together? Right. Like, I know I shouldn't eat before I go to bed, but I was snacking and I wanted more popcorn. And then I had a cookie, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt awful. And then I felt worse about myself and how pathetic am I? And I was like, what if we took that guilt, you feeling guilty because you feel bad, why don't you turn it into gratitude and say, body, thank you for reminding me that this does not feel good.
Oh, that's so good.
Right? Like, for me, same thing. It's so interesting. I get nightmares if I snack too late at night. I can snack at night. I love having a snack at night. I think that's also, like, we've told ourselves, you should not, here are the rules. Do not eat after dinner. Here's the reality. I was having a piece of chocolate after dinner on the couch with a glass of wine last night, and I said to myself, I love doing this. I love sitting on the couch next to my husband, munch my little, like, and give myself permission to do what you love. That's what I've learned from the.
Yes.
Self permission to do it, because if I have permission to do it, I'm not going to eat 3 servings of chocolate. I'm going to stay at my 1 serving, feel really good, and then watch another hour of TV or read a book and go to bed and not have like that feeling of being close to eating too close. Now, if I eat too close to when I go to bed, I get nightmares. And so I incorporated this the other night, and it wasn't the quality. Sometimes it's just the timing. And in the middle of the night, or I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh, wow, I'm not well rested. Like, I'm so glad. You know, when you're like, oh, thank God that all wasn't real, right?
Right.
So rather than that, and then typically I used to go, oh, you know better than this. Come on, Trish. You know you shouldn't eat, blah, blah, blah. I said, man, I'm thankful that my body sends me messages. My body kindly reminded me last night, hey, it doesn't feel good to have a snack at 10:30.
That's huge.
Right? So you hear that guilt. That guilt is your body telling you something. And rather than, I think our propensity, because it's a moralistic relationship we've had around food, we tend to go, I'm bad. I need to be better. I'm going to be more disciplined. And then, I can do this.
Right.
Versus, no, oh man, my body is really smart. What a great thing. I'm going to thank it. And then I'm going to notice what it's telling me.
Right. A lot of the times we see it as a deserved punishment for eating bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, I deserve this. I created this. Of course I'm going to feel fat, and I'm going to feel my stomach's going to cramp, and my stomach's going to be out to here, or whatever the case may be.
And then my face gets a little swollen.
Yeah.
Well, again, it goes back to
that's huge.
Puritanical about food.
It's huge. And this really ties into your concept earlier, and this is one of the things I learned about you the most, is changing language.
Yeah.
Because even the I'm busy, that's to me, and I say guilty as charged. I say it a lot, but I'm so mindful. So I switched busy to full. Like, I have a very full day. I have so many opportunities today to help people. I mean, I know, like, some people's like, okay, really? But honestly, it completely flips it for me. And if I say, oh my God, I'm back to back, instead of,
it already feels worse.
Right. It's like, oh my gosh, I have so many opportunities today. I can challenge people. I get to push them and challenge them, which feels really good. But even with the busy, when people say busy, and when I say it, to me, it's almost an irresponsible statement.
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't have the choice because I'm so busy. Well, instead of, we're out of, what?
It's a state of powerlessness.
Totally, which is BS. Because, yeah, you're right. It's victim and lack mentality where, like you were saying, we're out of pocket. But it's because we're choosing to put our energy and our time at other places, but we're making the choice. And I think it's important for us to recognize that we have the choice. And then that ties into celebrating your wins, because I can celebrate the fact that I have the choice to do the things that I want to do. But it's such a flip. And we talk about the flip of mindset so much in the Fierce Life. And some days it works, some days it doesn't. And every other day is in between.
And that's okay. Exactly.
And that's okay.
To change your language, has been a very, very powerful kind of subconscious way for me, is when you have one word, one concept you want more of in your life, change all your passwords. Don't make it like don't just be like abundance. Like you need to be like abundance 2018. I mean, add exclamation mark. Add like some sort of slight security to it. But like you guys can, I mean, for a while, almost every password I was so like really needed to reframe abundance in my mind. Every password had that in it.
That's so great.
As a personal trainer, when I was first learning sales, I was, gold mine Trish. Like I needed myself to be, I'm a gold mine. Everything I touch turns. Like I needed to pep talk myself through changing my passwords. So if you want more financial abundance and you feel like your credit card statements are not where you want and your debit accounts in the dumps, make your, especially signing into something financial, put the financial power words that you want behind that there, so that when you go in there, you're not dreading it, that you see that and you're like, this is what I'm working towards.
I love that.
Little subconscious way we can change our language really is powerful.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. So changing language around the time. Mm-hmm. And the other thing you said about time, because when I reached out to you, I said, the biggest struggles for women are time, falling back into old habits and patterns, and then which ties into the self-sabotage, which I hear a lot, and then disbelief in self. Mm-hmm. And the disbelief is there because we keep self-sabotaging, falling back into the old habits, because our thoughts and our words are in lack.
It starts with the thoughts and words, and then it goes to habits, and then
yes, exactly.
And I think there needs to be grace. Like if we're going to be punishing ourselves all the time, we have to give ourselves grace as well. Okay. Say, if I fall in a bad step, I'm not falling into a bad habit. I'm revisiting old behavior because it's automated. It doesn't mean I've failed. It doesn't mean my growth has been stunted. It just means I wasn't aware. Wow. I fell back into something, and whoa, good thing look how much more mindful I am now. I see exactly why this happened. It's not this permanency of like, here I am, like, who was I to think I could break this?
Right. Yeah, and I think we've talked about that too. I think I love that statement. I'm revisiting an old behavior because it's automated. That's huge, because there is a beat up. Someone says, well, I'm working towards this goal and I'm going to exercise this many days. I'm going to eat this and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And the second we aren't perfect, which is another concept I've learned a lot about from you, huge. Because when we're not perfect, it's throw in the towel and forget it, I can't do it anyway. And so we've done a lot of work in the Fierce Life about the vacillation and the necessity of the vacillation to recognize progress. Yes. Because if you don't ever go back and revisit, how do you know? Yeah. So the having the awareness that you're back revisiting is a clear indication that you've progressed forward.
Yes.
And I think sometimes, like you said, so turning the guilt into gratitude, that's a great way of like immediately applicable to my ladies, because we talk about this a lot. So when you have that vacillation and you think, 5 steps forward, okay, 30 steps backwards, be grateful for that, because you recognize how much change and progress you've made along the way, which is huge. And the 30 steps back to that spot are so much shorter and so much faster than they were the first time.
Yeah, well, I would say too, speaking to belief, like, all right, so first and foremost, like my title, confidence coach, like I'm supposed to be somebody, an expert in confidence, an expert in belief. So you better believe when I have my impressions, when I'm like, you know, I have a pity party. What's the point? What a bad day. When I'm in an old mindset, then the guilt is like, whoa, people won't leave me. I'm like, wait a second. I'm so glad I feel like this right now. Like I turn that guilt, that awfulness into be like, damn, this actually feels good because this feels awful. I don't like this. This is old Trish. This is the Trish who felt suffocated, who felt insecure, who felt stuck, who vacillated between, you know, back and forth between kind of getting where she wanted to go, but never getting anywhere. And I was like, wow, this is feels so uncomfortable. I know for sure it's not me anymore. And I actually then I go, I'm thankful for this opportunity because it reminds me of how it feels. Now I remember I can speak to some of those pain points for those people that my friends, my clients, my college confidence, like we can speak to that in a more personal way. And also in a way that it's so helpful to know, like it's like we have to expect it's going to be downhill. There's going to be a plateau. We're not above. We don't have to be perfect in this journey.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like some of the best, like some of these business people I've studied, they're like, you know, build billion-dollar industries and then they go bankrupt and then they build it up again. Now, is that great? Encouraging? No, but they know that you build back up. It doesn't. We're not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they've been bankrupt. They just rebuild.
Right.
Quicker than the first time because they know they can.
Right.
But it's a point because it's you know, like this isn't a state of permanency. It's not definition.
That's huge. That is huge. And
I'm revisiting and I think also to be fair to myself, if I've been intentionally diving this deep into the psychology of personal development and mindset for 15 years, last 10 years of my business. So let's just call it 10 years of like really serious. I'm 35 years old. I'm going against 25 years of that. I'm giving myself some grace there.
Right.
You know, with these habits, we're talking decades long of habits, or decades,
right.
maybe your entire life you've been told something by a parent. So just because you've been working on it for 5 years to rewrite your mindset, maybe you've heard it for 40 years. So let's put that into perspective and go, it's okay sometimes that old thought comes in and you have to be like, why do I have to still be so intentional about replacing it? Because you heard that for 40 years.
Right.
A long time. Give ourselves
a long time. Yeah, that's a really good point because I don't think we appreciate, or it's more challenging to appreciate how long it's been a tape, how long it's been a thought, how long it's been part of your experience versus how long the new stuff has been part of your experience.
Yeah, because it feels like because you're working so hard at it, you're like, you can master this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no real. I think a freeing thing to remember is that every timeline's different. There's no timeline.
Right. So having your own journey and it looks so different to everybody.
Durkin told me one time a great analogy. He said, "Trish, you're bushwhacking your own trail."
Mm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Going. That's okay. Keep slicing it.
Right. And I think that when you get lost in the comparison trap, which we all do, that's very easy to believe that you can't do it because it doesn't look like that, but it's not supposed to.
Right.
It's not supposed to look like that.
No.
You know, and I think that's like you were saying at the beginning, like having the freedom to let go, to just be you. When you do that, there is no such thing as comparison because there's no other you. And I know that sounds cheesy and I know we've heard it before, but it's the truth. Yeah. And I feel like if we can embrace that concept, the confidence starts to build, the belief starts to build. This ability to recognize how far you've come and then have the desire and the energy and the will to keep going is there when you stay in your lane.
Yes.
And trust that you do know the answers. I think that's the other thing is it's not a lack of information that's keeping us stuck because we're the most over-informed society ever.
Yes.
That it's like detrimental to our health actually, I believe. So it's not the lack. It's not like I need the diet, I need the right exercise program. It's not what we're missing. What we're missing is this. So if you could, okay. So time and moralization around food, and then this other piece with my fierce ladies, like I said, like the disbelief in self, the falling back into old patterns.
Yeah.
What, as we move into the summer and schedules are anything but a schedule, how could you just think of a quick, I don't know, a motivational little mantra or a motivational summary of these concepts to say, as we move into a new season, this is a great time to implement some of these new flips in language and new flips in mindset. And these are some very easy steps you could do. Could you give that to us so I could share that with my ladies?
First and foremost, in a season of summer where your schedule is very full, I think you have to remember that the season of taking care of yourself is over. Even if it's 5 minutes, that 5 repeated 5,000 times is going to have a tremendous compound effect. So whether your 5 minutes is spent stretching, maybe it's doing a devotional, maybe writing in your journal, maybe it's I don't know what you need to do, but if everybody has 5 minutes. Everybody has 10 minutes. And saying to yourself, I am a priority. And you do the world a disservice and an injustice if you don't take care of yourself. And so while you can say, well, I'm serving everybody else, you are not. You're serving. So one of the things that was helpful for me is like, I can do the little things that I need. Then I was like, oh, man, you should be like, it's like almost expecting myself to be a robot. Like I'm embarrassed. I need these things to thrive. No, I just self-care. I need self-care. If I don't do the self-care, the world gets a decent version of Trish. They get like a 70% Trish. But you know what's better than 70% Trish? 100% Trish. Like the 100% me. Way better. And so ask yourself, what version of you do you want to give the world? And sometimes 5 minutes is the difference in that. The other thing that I think is really interesting to keep in mind is your ability to activate your habits and goals. I think one of the reasons we fall off track on our habits is because we say, especially around food, I was so good at so much. I deserve this.
Yes. I hear that a lot.
Right. I felt like I did this and I deserved to take a break. Or I deserved the ice cream. And that's why I took it. And I told myself that was bad. So then that activates the cycle. But I think if we were to give ourselves what we deserve throughout the day,
that's huge.
Not gonna have that crazy deserve cycle that happens at night, which again, so it's like giving yourself 5 minutes, taking a break and technology behind and for 5 minutes and taking a walk. Or, I told you this dance class that I did. I just enrolled in an online dance class too. And so when I take my 5 minute break, I'm learning anyways, it's called skeezy.com or something. I recommend it so far. It's like, we deserve fun in our lives. Like that's so fun. It feels so fun. And like, that is way more productive than me trying to get through emails.
So 100%.
So,
okay.
So I think the key is like, you're never too busy for yourself. And if you can remember that this summer,
that's it. That's the tagline, baby.
Right. You're never too busy for yourself. And when you take care of yourself, you value yourself. When you value yourself, you believe in yourself.
Wow.
So I think the self-belief isn't just choose to believe. I mean, there are going to be times we need to fake it. There's times we need to talk about yourself for sure.
Right.
But I think it all starts with fundamental confidence in knowing that you have worth. You don't need to
absolutely
earn it, that you have the worth.
You have it as is right now.
Is right now, even that feels foreign. Choose to believe it. Because what do you
yeah.
mean?
That's huge too. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
There's nothing. If you're feeling here and you want to be here, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah, nothing to lose. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, okay, will you remind me again the podcast names so people can search it? Also your website, and then because your website is like packed with information.
Yes.
Love it. And then also the College of Confidence. Can you just give one more reminder of how to connect to you through those?
The podcast is called The Confidence Podcast.
Okay.
You can get that iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or directly on my website.
Okay.
The website is trishblackwell.com.
Easy.
If you want to get hooked up with me, I've got a 7-day free video series called The Quick Confidence Boost.
Love it, by the way. I love that one.
Get that, trishblackwell.com.
Okay.
Quick Confidence Boost. If you want to come from anything from a faith-based perspective, I do have a new devotional out there. That's a detox devotional on mindset.
Okay.
I think the link for that is trishblackwell.com/devotional, maybe.
Okay.
If somebody really wants the link, I'm going to get it to you.
Okay.
And then College Confidence, I'd love for y'all to check that out. It's trishblackwell.com/college, or you can go to collegeconfidence.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been outstanding. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear what the ladies say. I will get everybody that's watching, you can post comments below. It'll be in the membership and in the clubhouse. So whatever questions you have for Trish, let me know and I will relay them to you. And we'll keep the conversation going.
Like it.
Remember, you're never too busy for you. I love that. I love that. Give me a fist bump, Trish. I always end my Zooms with a fist bump. Ready? 1, 2, 3, boom. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.